Hey guys, it's John V here with PhoneArena, and this is our first quick hands-on look at the brand new Google Pixel 2 XL. So this is obviously the larger of the two new handsets that Google introduced. It's an upgrade versus last year's model, the Google Pixel XL. But what's different though is the manufacturer, because now they swapped out HTC in favor for LG. And this is especially important because you could see some of the influences LG has on this handset when you look at it from the front. But let's dive in and talk about the first thing, and that's going to be its design. So yeah, there are a lot of similarities here with the LG V30 because the Pixel 2 XL has some of the same design characteristics from the front. It's basically an all-screen bezel-less design that we're familiar with, and also has the same sloping edges around the sides. But when you flip it around to the back, that's when we continue to see the same Pixel influence we saw in the past. So you have that two-tone finish with the metal meets glass. The glass footprint is a little bit smaller, which is good, and it's available in two distinctive colors. You have an all-black version, and then you have a black and white. What's kind of strange though to me is that the metal feels more like a plastic material than anything else, which kind of subdues its premium look and feel. However, there are a few things that they've improved upon with the design which I like, and then there's others that I don't. For starters, it's nice that it's now water resistant because it has an IP67 construction. And on top of that, it features these dual front-firing speakers, which are wonderful when you're watching videos. And the other thing I want to point out about the design is that it doesn't have a headphone jack and it doesn't have wireless charging. We didn't have that last year either, but considering that the Note 8 and also the V30 have both of those features, you kind of wish this one did as well. When we look at the display, again, we see some of LG's influence because it kind of takes after the V30's display. From the specs standpoint, it's the same. It's a 6-inch 1440 by 2880 plastic OLED display. It also has the same screen aspect ratio, 18 by 9. It has the same sloping edges around the sides, so it looks identical. Can't complain about it because it's detailed, has some nice wide viewing angles, and so far it looks beautiful on this handset, and they've increased the screen size versus last year's model without having a lot more real estate. Now for me, it wasn't the hardware that was the main attraction about the Pixel 2 XL. It was actually more the software. That's where we see a lot more of the innovations here because it is running a stock version of Android 8.0 Oreo right from the get-go, and it does bring in some cool new features that make it more profound. A lot of these new software features are more background processes than anything else, but some of them are right there in your face. For example, you have the new at-a-glance widget at the Pixel Launcher home screen, so it displays some useful reminders that are coming up so you always know what they are. Secondly, if you always wondered what song is playing in the background, you'll get that information now in the always on display feature with the handset when the phone's locked, because it'll display the artist and also track title. There are also smarter functions with the Google Lens application. So for example, if you take a snapshot of a flyer using the Pixel 2 XL's camera, it's smart enough to detect the information in there, like an email address, so you don't have to manually type it down yourself. And taking after the HTC U11, you also have this squeeze function where you could quickly access the Google Assistant feature at any time. There are a bunch of other things with the software that really makes it profound over the hardware, but I could go on and on about it. But at the end of the day, it's really nice that the phone is evolving, the software is evolving in more ways to make our lives easier. Under the hood, it's packing pretty much the same hardware you see in many other phones. So that's a Snapdragon 835 chip with 4GB of RAM. It's zippy, fast, thanks to, of course, stock Android. I did test it out with the new Google Daydream View VR headset, and it played VR games perfectly smooth, no problems whatsoever. But it still doesn't have expandable storage. You have only 64GB or 128GB to work with. And then there's the camera. Now, the Pixel XL was renowned for its great camera performance last year, and you would think that they would follow suit in providing some dual camera system, much like other phones, but they didn't. Instead, they stuck with just a single 12 megapixel camera with an f1.8 aperture lens. It has OIS built in and this new dual pixel autofocus. What's impressive though is that it's able to provide this portrait mode of sorts without having a dual camera system. Now this is all done via software and also some of the hardware. So basically the phone itself looks at the image, looks at all the pixels, and determines what elements are in the background and what is the subject. And it's pretty cool because it does a great job of isolating that. So the focus is placed on the subject. And I gotta say, it does a pretty good job in determining that, although it does take a few seconds for it to process, but the end result is pretty good. As for pricing, the Pixel 2 XL starts at $850 for the base 64GB version. Now that is pricey, but it's kind of in line to some of the other handsets in the space out there, like the Note 8, like the iPhone 8 Plus, and also the LG V30. It's going to be a matter of preference because there are some cool stuff that we love about the phone, specifically some of the software tricks, but then there are some other things that make us scratch our heads, like the lack of a headphone jack and also wireless charging. So if you guys want to learn more about the Google Pixel 2 XL, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V, signing off.